So this past weekend, I had a pretty amazing experience. It was a pretty draining experience, but it was a pretty amazing experience. I got to cover 20 plus films for the 2024 Slamdance Film Festival, which if you're not familiar with Slamdance, it's kind of like Sundance's little brother. I covered like 5 movies for Sundance, but the majority were for Slamdance. They're more independent focused, they're smaller productions, and it's one of my favorite festivals, hand down. I've done Cannes, I've done Venice, parts of, I've never gone to. I've done a lot of major film festivals, and Slamdance always, to me, has the most heart. So I'm going to go through some of the movies that I covered for Slamdance. And although most of these won't be available anytime soon, they're just things to look out for, things to think about, things to potentially look for in the future. If you go to my website, www.ohmr.us, you too can see all of these reviews in depth. So if there's anything that I talk about that seems interesting to you, that's a great resource. I've also posted the majority of the review. It's character limited on Instagram, but you can see the rating, the poster, a little snippet of the review on there, and then go to my website if you're interested still. So like I said, there's 21 plus here, so I'm going to go through them rather quickly because I don't want this to be like a 2-hour-long video. And I'm going to go in reverse order from the last one I covered to the first one. So if you go to my website and you find Slamdance 2024 and you click on that wording, that will show you the category where all of those reviews are. So up first, we have a film called Bliss, which is actually the second part of a proposed trilogy. The first was Virgil Bliss, and these are super independent. Like the first was done, it had a very, I think it was 2001, very late 90s shot on video feel, but the story was there. And the second film, which was called Bliss, was the follow-up to that story, and it was so good. I mean, very independent. I have to focus on that because there can be great, good blockbuster style films, and there can be great, good independent films, and then there can be like great, good B-movie independent films that are still good because of the passion and the heart that's in them. So I'm not going to even tell you what these films are about because I think that I could potentially ruin something. So if you want to know more, my reviews are all spoiler free, but if you want to know more, go check them out on the website. Up next was Norwegian film called Punishment. It was about 4 people in the prison system over there that went on a retreat within the prison itself. And I enjoyed it's a documentary, and I enjoyed it, but it felt like it was missing something the whole time. One of my favorite films was Michaela's Voice, and it's basically about this girl who is nonverbal, and she finds her voice. She finds a way to communicate with her family, and it changes the world. So I guess I am going to give a little brief description. Bliss, I can't. I don't want to. Before that, I saw This Is a Story Without a Plan, and it is a very short, 8-minute animated film, and it's very artsy. Normally, that's not my type of vibe. I don't like the artsy, but this had a purpose. It had a feeling to it, and just was absolutely beautiful. Before that, I watched it's a TV series pilot called Restorage, and my goodness, I need more of this in my life because it was fun. I really hope they ended up winning the jury prize, I believe, at Slamdance, and I hope that means somebody's going to pick this up to series because it's entertaining as hell and it has a fun plot. Before that was Demon Mineral. This is about the uranium issues on the Navajo land, and the unknowns, I guess. That's probably the best way I can put it without revealing too much. Great documentary. Then I had The Accident, and very claustrophobic, very personal, very in-your-face film. It felt like somebody was sitting there with a camera, whatever you look as a camera anymore, in this woman's journey, and it felt every bit as personal as you can imagine. Like, you felt like you were part of her story. Before that, we had Blockbuster, which wasn't my favorite. It was interesting, but it wasn't like mind-blowing. Kind of somebody's obsession over film, which is ironic because you would think that's something that would hit home. Then we had Afantan's Hunter. It was actually a 9-minute long music video, but it didn't feel like a music video. Like, it was for this specific type of music, but there aren't a whole lot of lyrics or anything to it, so it's just kind of a background. But the idea behind the video was just like really interesting. I'd love to see it turn into a feature length. I had Roll Bus Roll, a Jeffrey Lewis documentary. I didn't know anything about Jeffrey Lewis before watching this, and I think that hurt me. I think if you were familiar with Jeffrey Lewis and you know about him and his music, that this documentary would be absolutely amazing. Now we're going to page 2, maybe, if my computer will work. There we go. All I've Got and Then Some is a comedy drama about a stand-up comedian, and I felt like it was almost a little too amateurish. I got what they were going for, but I wanted to see more from it. I wanted to see a deeper story and connection to it all. The complex forms. This movie was nuts, and there's no other way to put it. I don't even know how to describe it without giving away anything, because it starts as one thing and then it switches into something else, and it's a gorgeous film. That's probably one of the most important parts of it. It's gorgeous in every sense of the word. Before that, I have Look at Me, comedy drama, and the heart behind this movie is insane. Like, I felt so many emotions while watching this for the main character. The protagonist in this film was just, it got to me. My favorite film of this entire experience is something called Complications. I believe is also Norwegian. It's only 14 minutes long. I don't know how to describe it without giving it away. It's about a sex worker who has an interaction with one of their clients, and it's not like that. You're not going to see anything. But then this interaction changes the entire perspective of both of their lives. I had Love and Work. It's a comedy. And it's fantastic because it's a comedy in a world where working is illegal. That's all. The Bitcoin Car is a comedy drama musical, and it's as crazy as it sounds. The name is The Bitcoin Car, and it's a comedy drama musical about just craziness and a Bitcoin farm, and as over the top as you can imagine. Before that, I had Good Bad Things, which it felt like you were watching a real friendship unfold on screen. Like, these people, they're actors, and I'm sure they know each other, but the communication in the film was just, it gets to you. Before that, I had Brando with a Glass Eye, and this is very intense drama. That's probably the best way that I can describe it. The story was intense, the acting was intense, the payoff, the price the people paid, everything about it was incredibly intense. Before that, I had Dosh, and although it was only 16 minutes long, it felt like I experienced an entire feature film, which I think is one of the best ways that I can describe a short film. When you finish a short film and you feel like you watched an entire feature-length film, that says the world. Legend of Al Cucky, Cucuy, another short, 14 minutes, and I unfortunately didn't feel like I experienced feature film. I enjoyed it, but as you will hear me say regularly, you don't have to see the scary. if you don't have the means to create a genuinely frightening image on screen, figure out a way around it. Figure out a way to take that with shadows or blurs or anything where you don't have to show it. I mean, this wasn't terrible, but at the same time, once you saw it, it was like, oh, okay. So we are now on to page 3, and I think I'm going to do little posters. I know there's a lot here, but I think it'll help connect what I'm saying to the actual film, because this is Nina is an athlete. It's a documentary, and it's about a woman who's wheelchair bound, but the documentary is about her wanting to go to the Paralympics, but it's also about her being a mother and the journey that she's taking and all of that. Before that was a short film called Baby, and this one really connected with me. It's about a couple who want to have a baby, and the world kind of looks at them as they may not be prepared to have a baby, but the 19-minute runtime will change your expectations of that film. Before that, probably my favorite feature-length film called Chaperone, and just like I watched a Miller's Girl, which stars Jenna Ortega. It's a film that just came out to select theaters or Friday. There are going to be people who don't like this movie, and they won't like the movie because of the subject matter of the movie. And while I understand that, it's also, that's why they make these movies. That's why they challenge us with these stories. That's why they're movies. These aren't real life stories. These are movies that are challenging the perspective of what we are used to and making us look at things a different way. It's a story that you've heard before, but flipped on its head. And yeah, it's called Chaperone. And I really hope that it gets a release here soon so that everybody can check it out and make that judgment for themselves. Another short I had was Young People, Old People, and Nothing in Between. It was only 20 minutes, but it was very heartfelt, between a young girl and her grandmother and dementia and the battles that they're facing. Before that was Inheritance, and this was really cool because it was I believe 10 to 12 year period where they filmed this kid in an environment where he was battling against all of these preconceived ideas against him, things that are inherited from his parents and grandparents and the society that he lives in and the community he lives in. And these things that, is he going to overcome this, and how does he do this? And my first movie from Slamdance, it was actually, it's part of a series that they're working on. It was called Dogs Spelled Backwards, and it was about rescue animals. And I mean, it was only 20 minutes, but it got to the core. It got to what we can do to help change that. And yeah, so I did all of that plus 5 other Sundance films, which if you want to know more about those, let me know, and I'll either do another video or comment on those in the comment section. But all of that in a 3-day period, basically. And while I loved it and it was a fantastic experience, it was draining. So just be warned, if this is something that you want to do, I still haven't figured out how to do it, but maybe there's a way that you can learn how to say no, or how to slow yourself down and pace yourself without the fear that you're going to be missing something. Either way, if you guys stuck around for this whole video, thank you so much. As always, if you can do the like, follow, ring the bell, all that stuff, the more people who do that stuff, the more people that I will get following, the more people, the more I can do here. Because unlike some of the short form platforms or the photo based platforms, this involves a lot more effort. This involves thinking through. I don't script anymore. This is all off the fly, but it does involve editing. It involves uploading. It involves captioning. There's more processes to a YouTube video than just, recording and, posting. So I appreciate you all. If you guys have questions, thoughts, anything about this process, whether it's about Slamdance or movie reviewing or critiquing, whatever the case is, feel free to drop me questions. I'm always happy to talk to you guys. I'm always happy to go back and forth and have conversations to help others understand as well. So again, thank you guys, and I'll be back with my next one.